Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, y'all already know who it is, target individual, CJBK. It's another early morning where I'm trying to make my way to work. And, you know, I, oh, how should I put this? Awakening people who are not aware of what targeting is and how long they could have been targeted for. And, when you hear like the red flags of what a person is going through, and, morally, if you are a person of moral conviction, someone who believes in, like helping humanity, you would believe that it's the right thing to do if you know someone that you care about is being manipulated by this technology and they're unaware of what's happening with the technology. You're going to do what you think is the right thing to do. Now, luckily enough, this person that I've been, spending time with, she's been, her mom is somewhat awakened to a lot of the things that go on, not just in this country, but around the world, dealing with, all kinds of like secret things that go on. She's aware of what COINTELPRO is. She knows about how the CIA, infiltrated the Black Panther Party. She knows about how, certain, revolutionary groups in general were always infiltrated and then divided. You appeal to someone who's in a struggle. You appeal to them by offering them things that they possibly could want, whether it's money, access to services, access to resources, or whatever the case may be. Material things like cars or, who knows, discounts on homes, whatever it could be. You appeal to what that person may want, and you can possibly get them to do anything that you want. It's like I mentioned this before, that like I talk about how the handlers who are over my nervous system, they're black. They're black. They like in the very beginning, when my targeting started. Well, apparently, like I said in the earlier videos, I wasn't supposed to be a target. They said I wasn't supposed to be a target. I was supposed to just basically not say nothing and do what they were telling me to do, which was become a police officer, right? But, like I said, first thing they tried to do is see if they can intimidate me by using this technology on me as a scare tactic, because they claimed I was talking about people, but what they were actually saying was they didn't like that I actually had a moral compass. So like if I seen somebody doing something wrong, if I said it to the person or whether I'm thinking it to myself, they didn't like the fact that I actually had a moral compass. So they said, you be talking about people. Me personally, I'm the type of person where I don't actually like to see people who curse out their children. Like, I don't actually like to see people who, teach their children how to dance raunchy. I don't like to see people who, just blatantly litter. Like you had a whole plastic container of food, and you're like not even 20 feet away from you're not even 20 feet away from a trash can, and you just go ahead and fling it on the ground. And then if you say something to that person, or you think that's a fucking lazy ass motherfucker, the trash can is right fucking there. You couldn't have thrown it in a trash can? They don't want nobody to say or even think in that manner. It's like this one episode of Black Mirror. I was just showing my friend over this weekend, where everyone basically lived their lives based off of this rating, right? And it was all like an augmented reality type of concept where people can, see, like if they look at you, there's like a computerized system in their brain that basically like pulls up a profile of that person. And then if you have your phone on you, when you get within when you get within a certain range of that person, you can pull up, I guess, their activities, you can pull up their memories, I guess, and you can see who that person is. And everything about that person is rated on like a 5-point scale. And if you talk negatively about a person, and other people can see that memory of you talking negatively about a person, they can downgrade your point scale. So this woman, she was like a 4.3. Then like a couple of things started to happen, and then next thing you know, people started rating her down to like a 4.2. And then she wanted to, get this particular home in this particular neighborhood, and she wanted to be among the 4.5s and up, because the 4.5s looked like they had all the best things, and they were the most like, I don't know, like the 4.5s were like the uppity, like kind of like wealthy looking people, or rich and wealthy people, whatever. And but throughout the show, you start to see that she was containing herself so much that she would never speak her honest truth about anything. She would never speak, with free emotions about anything. Everything about her was just so confined, and it was just like she was just restrained. And at some point she meets this truck driver, and it was a woman truck driver. And when she looked at the truck driver's scale said that she was a 1.8 or 1.4 or some shit like that, right? Yeah, the truck driver was like a 1.4. And, she now being like I think she was like a 2.8 or something like that. And she was trying to hitchhike her way to a friend's wedding, who basically it was a friend, quote unquote, who basically never really was her friend, but probably more of a user and a very obnoxious perfectionist type of person, so the trucker was like, hey, you want to ride? And then she saw that she was a 1.4 and was like, ugh. And then she was like, you sure? I mean, I'm going the same way. So she was like, all right. So she finally gets on the truck, and then the truck driver's like, basically, long story short, the woman who was a 2.8 was telling her story. Then the trucker goes, well, you sound like me when I was around your age. Long story short, she's like, at some point, I stopped caring about all of that. I stopped caring about, pleasing people. I stopped caring about, restraining myself. I stopped caring about, not being honest with people. And that's what this is slowly starting to become in our reality right now, is this whole mind control, this whole thing about basically manipulating people using fear is all about basically trying to control how a person lives and acts in the world. Like, it's not doing anyone a service if you're not going to be honest with someone. It's not doing anyone a service if you don't call out bullshit when you see bullshit. And that's what it's like. This whole system is enabling people to just literally be secret, fucking controlling monsters. It's like monsters trying to control the same. That's what it basically is boiling down to, is like monsters trying to control the same. And they could get as mad as all they want, because with the remote neural monitoring, and they're live streaming everything I see and everything that I think, and they're recording everything that I say. They want people to be fearful of them because they control information. What makes it even worse is, remember that you can construct, if you know things about coding and how to create images and stuff like that, especially within artificial intelligence that we have today, they can basically create video images of you doing anything they want a person to believe that you are doing or saying. So it's terrible to believe that someone can actually create an image of you doing something that you didn't actually do, and then send it to people that you don't even know, and they would believe that that's actually you doing something that you was never actually doing. But this is when you gotta learn to just develop a new sense of peace and well-being within yourself, because it's like, I learned that at some point you gotta learn not to care anymore, because all of these people don't realize that they're actually more working against themselves. I mean, yes, we're taking the blunts of the hit. We're taking the impacts, right? But just remember, it's our flesh. It's not necessarily us. When you learn to focus, when you learn to maintain a constant state of focus and a constant state of, awareness, you can hear when that heterodyning comes in. You can hear when they're trying to tune you to a specific frequency. That ringing that you hear, if you hear ringing in your ears and it doesn't follow with pain in your ears, that's not tinnitus. That is them tuning your body or your mind to be to create a certain frequency for them to actually link to. That is not, tinnitus. That is them actually tuning you. you know. And, you know, I was talking to my friend about it, and I was like, you know, it's saddening that, you know, they're using, I mean, not to be all about race or anything, but it's saddening that they're using black folks against black folks. But I mean, hell, they've been doing that since even pre-transatlantic slave trade, you know. So just another divisive tool to divide black people into even, you know, more groups, you know. Like, I never really considered myself a revolutionary or, you know, I never really considered myself like a protesting type. I just always believed in doing the right thing. You know, my mom raised me to just do the right thing. I never believed in being a follower. I never really kind of understood or like found what's so great about using so much of your energy to feed into the ideals of other people and, you know, the majority. Because like, I haven't done stuff like that since like probably like high school or like when I was like 20, 21 years old, maybe 22, 23. I'm like 33 now. You know, I always remember every time I pass by this church and I stick my hand out over the grass, it feels like something is trying to peel off of my skin. This might actually truly be a church that's real holy ground. Because every time I stick my hand out over this church, this is a Catholic church. Every time I stick my hand out over this church lawn, it feels like something is peeling off of my skin. Like there's a layer of like energy peeling off of my body, and then all of a sudden when I get here, I don't feel it as much anymore. That's how you know this technology is deeply rooted in Luciferian and all this dark entity stuff. Yes, it's technological. Yes, it's psychological. But people don't realize technology is the new paganism. That's why they call it techno-paganism. Technology is the new spell casting. You know, so everybody, there's so many things that TIs are going through. TI's talking about, oh, it's not spiritual. Oh, it's not technological. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's all of it. You know, yeah, so I just want people to remember one of the best ways to practice developing mental strength is to learn how to concentrate or learn how to maintain a constant state of focus. Because the moment you relax your brain, the moment you relax your mind, that's when they usually send most of the signals to your brain, and then then your brain will receive that signal, and then it will resonate with that signal. That concentration, that focus, what it basically is kind of like, imagine if you close your eyes, right? Imagine you close your eyes, and when you close your eyes, think of a pipe with a valve, right? Now, imagine when you're relaxed, there's water just constantly flowing through that valve. There's water constantly flowing through that valve, right? Now, if you want to turn the valve off, you have to use a little strength to, you know, pull a lever or squeeze something in order to turn it off, right? So imagine when you're concentrating, right? Imagine in your brain like you have a valve in the center of in the center of your brain, right? Imagine trying to close that valve, right? When you think about it, if you can actually tighten it and you feel like something just tightened, like something just closed in the center of your brain, based on what the handlers had told me, because of, I guess when I kept practicing doing it, they would always yell out, "He got a frequency blocker on. He got a natural frequency blocker." You literally have a natural frequency blocker. Your pineal gland can control the amount of things or the frequencies that your brain is being allowed to, I guess, process. Yeah. I'm all late to work. I left the house way too late. But yeah, so practice that concentration, like when you're reading a book, right? And let's say you're reading outside and you're trying to block out the noise of like people around you or whatever, and you're focusing on what you're reading. That focus, that ability to block out external noises around you, that is your natural frequency blocker. When you can, like, even if you're like trying to focus on, let's say, even like if you take your finger and you focus your eyes on like the details of you're trying to focus on the details of your fingerprint, right? In that sense, you're even tightening that valve, you're focusing. The more you learn how to actually maintain that focus without actually doing anything, you are strengthening your natural frequency blocker. Now, I will tell you this. If you are trying to do that concentration or you're trying to focus, but you feel like something like it'll feel like you're trying to close it, but it feel like something is like trying to keep you from actually closing it. What they basically ended up doing is they found the resonant frequency for that valve or whatever, or they found the resonant frequency for that portion of your brain. And what they're doing is they're trying to prevent you from being able to block their frequencies from coming in. But there is a way you can actually continuously you just have to constantly keep doing it. Because remember, this is something that you don't normally always do. The only time you normally do it is if you're trying to study, or if you're trying to, if you're playing competitive sports, or if you're working out. Those are really the only times that you ever do it. But now we're at the point in our lives where we actually need to actively, consciously practice doing this to the point where we can maintain that focus every moment throughout the day, until we can find a more permanent way of blocking frequencies without having to wear a whole helmet and so I'm gonna leave it at that for now, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, whether I'm gonna be alive or whether they're gonna find some way to try to end up putting me in jail for whatever reason. They keep talking about he's about to go to prison. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, just always remember, you should never react to anything that is not clear and present. If it's not clear and present, do not react to it. Do not give it no energy. If someone sounds like they're talking about you subliminally or indirectly, don't even give them no energy. Because all it's really trying to do is basically break your concentration so that you would develop like a sense of like paranoia or confusion. That's all it really is. And on that note, as always, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.